if everything I read is correct, you guys met a long time ago, or in the world of this movie being out now, you met a decade ago, maybe? How long ago?
16 years ago.
16 years.
Yeah.
And
We were
just tell me a
babies.
little bit about that, when you first met each other, because your book had come out, you had kind of discovered it,
Yeah,
right?
when I was there shooting a film, I stopped in a street corner and bought a copy and sat and read it by myself, and really was moved by it. It was my discovery of, I hadn't been to Cambodia, I hadn't traveled as much as I should have. I realized how ignorant I was of so much going on in the world. This book was one of the things that really opened my eyes to things I didn't understand, and the way she wrote it really helped me to absorb it. And then we would months later be talking on the phone, working on anti-landmine and the campaign, and talking about Cambodia, and then I was going and she was going, and so we decided we would meet in the field.
Wow.
And so we did.
Yeah.
Wow.
We clicked the very first moment we met. We just got along really well, and turned out she's a really great conversationalist, and we talked.
And we talked, and we ended up, and we talked and talked and talked, and then we ended up going off. We were with a group, and we kind of decided we would go off and veer off with motorcycles into the middle of nowhere, and spent the night in the monsoon, and talked all night. And during that night, I asked her about that I was considering adopting, and she was very supportive.
All right.
And so,
Of her adopting me.
Right. Exactly.
that kind of happened. That's
Right. You kind of got
It's
adopted.
kind of like Auntie Lamong. The kids have adopted you. You're like she couldn't get away if she tried.
Oh, that's great. Well, you know, this film is unique in a lot of ways, but in one way in particular is you actually see it through a child and through a girl, a young, which is obviously yourself. My dad was in 2 wars. I've seen so many war films, and they always are with men and generals and whatnot. You never actually really see it, the carnage and the trauma, specifically from a child's point of view. And obviously, since you wrote it into your story, that was really important. But how was that for you to incorporate all of that?
Well, that was, and that's why, you know, the book really, I think, hit me so hard, was because it really put me in that little girl in war is the most vulnerable, and of so many things that can happen, and what she sees, and what she's targeted for, but as a filmmaker, it's quite a challenge, because you have these scenes, especially complex situations like this one, where you can't just tell the audience what's happening. You can't have a scene where the generals are sitting around and saying, well, this happened, and then we did this. You can only tell the audience as much as the little girl can understand, and the little girl doesn't understand the things as they are until they will slowly unfold. And she will only understand them as they're being fed to her through the story. So through the story, you're afraid, but then Pa says it's okay, so it has to be okay. You are told you should do this, and it's fine, and so you do it, but you're not sure it's fine. You end up with propaganda, and so becoming a soldier, and you're surviving, and so it was maneuvering through trying to just be her, and hope that the audience would kind of pick up enough clues of what was happening.
I think when you start with kind of America and Nixon, you kind of get an idea of where we are and what
In the
happened,
world, sure.
and where we are in the world, and kind of what happened in the chaos, because we don't know about it. I mean, as Americans and kids, you don't really learn this stuff as much, and as more time goes on, you know less and less. But I feel like now, the way the world is and the refugee crisis everywhere, I feel like there's kind of I don't want to say that a lot of these ideas, and I think your film will help with this, it's been resurrected, where we're really looking at this, and immigrants and refugees, and how this comes about, and how it happens all over the world.
The only problem is that we're looking at it, which I completely agree with you. We're looking at it, we're talking about it, we're not doing very much about it. We have over 65 million people displaced. We have more people displaced than after World War II. What are we really doing about it? And are we really ending conflicts? Do we have enough diplomacy? Are we using enough of the resources that we have? Are we counting on international justice, or doing anything in any way to really make sure we are handling a situation? And Cambodia, I grew up thinking Bosnia, Cambodia, if we knew. I believed if we knew we would never have let it get this far, you know? World War II, Auschwitz, if we knew. Look at the world today. Look how much we know. And what exactly are we doing? And so it's, I don't know, you know, it's just more, that is the time we're living in. We're living in a time of quite a lot of information, and yet do we have the diplomatic skills, the political will, the ability to work together as nations to be able to solve the bigger crisis? And we're coming up very, very short.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't feel like it.
And as a refugee, also, I'm very heartened to see the American people stepping up. That if you know, we're not doing enough in the world, that the people, you know, from all the different walks of life, and churches and mosques, and people who are, you know, when they know the story and they can see that this is happening to real human beings and mothers and daughters and brothers and sisters, that it's not just a group of people, but people with dreams and love and hearts and families that all just wish and want the same thing we wish and want for, which is peace, security, the ability to raise your child in safety. And, you know, and people are, the American people are stepping up.
No, you're exactly
and I'm
right.
grateful.
People, citizens across the world want their governments to do the right thing.
Yes.
They really do. You were helped by a church group, right?
I was helped by a church group in Vermont, and we were sponsored over to come to America, and we had to be taught everything: how to take the bus, how to buy food in a grocery store, because we didn't come from places where there are grocery stores. And I remember somebody teaching us how to use the laundromats and how to, so everything that we take for granted in America, I had to be taught, and somebody had to teach me. And so I'm very grateful to all those people for teaching me how to live in America.
How was it for you to live through your experiences with Angie and making this movie and the young girl playing you? Just tell me a little bit about that for you, the emotional ride.
Well, there have been moments of fear and sadness and anxiety, but there have also been many moments of beauty and grace and dignity and humility and mostly gratitude. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that I not only got to turn the book into a film, but I got to do it with somebody I love, with a very close friend who's, I love your family. I love the kids, and then Angie also knows my family really well, and I felt that we didn't go in to make a film. And you said it, but we make a film with Cambodia.
Right.
And that is very special, that our families were together. And the people that we worked with, the crews and the set, they all experienced intimately, whether it was, a survivors or children of the survivors. And it was a really cathartic, healing moment because we were never alone. And that was the major difference. For me, as a writer, it's you and your computer and your demons and your thoughts. And then to be on a film set, it's with you and all these beautiful spirits, and you're there together, supporting each other, and standing stronger together. And that was a beautiful gift.
And the movie,
Thank you.
Yeah. And the movie is uplifting. I mean, it does. You are uplifted, definitely. It's very hopeful at the end. And you put your kids to work, which I loved. They had jobs, right? Maddox is he produced it, right? Or he's executive producer.
He's
he helped,
executive,
and then Pax did the camera work and stuff, which was great, right?
Yeah, Pax did the photography. It was really, he did. And we had also this extraordinary photographer, Roland Nouveau, came in, who'd covered the war during, and he came in and shot a few days. But Pax, did great. And part of this, the whole thing was, yes, I like to put my children to work, and I like them to learn, and I wanted to, but I also, this film is so much the point of view of a child. There are a few shots that Pax took that I am so mad at myself that they're not shots in the movie. And often I would look at what he was doing, because somehow when he would, children look at things differently. And so we, and Maddox is the age, 70% of Cambodia is under 30, and Maddox is that age of young Cambodia and wanting to be a part of the world but be Cambodian, wanting to understand what happened but make it accessible to him. And so I wanted to make sure if he thought it was cool, if he understood it, if it had the right pace, if it had the right energy, the right information, then then we were reaching a center of who we wanted to communicate with. So.
Well, it's great you did it, and congratulations. It's great to meet you. I mean, I just think it's such a inspiring story, and it's true to go to. I mean, when you're talking about being in Vermont, the first thing I envisioned was all the snow, even like
Can you
the
imagine?
environment. So different, and just that tenacity and what you've been able to do, and then just giving back is great.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody should make a film about you.